Hey everyone, Wydek here again, this time with Game 2 of a Best of 5 series from the Kaspersky Arena September 2013 edition. And this time on Shir Vestige. We have spawning in the top left as the teal Zerg, representing Team Liquid, we have the little one. And his opponent, and Victor from Game 1, spawning in the bottom right as the blue Terran, representing Empire, we have Happy. Very interesting Game 1. You can head over to my other replays to check it out. It was a very close game. It was a 20-minute game where either player could have came out on top. And it looked like for a while Happy was in the lead, and then TLO came back and it was really even. It looked like TLO might actually be able to get the upper hand. And then just at the end of the game, there was one crucial confrontation where basically everything fell apart for TLO in just a matter of seconds, mere seconds. And that kind of sealed the deal. And Happy was able to claim victory in Game 1. So it'll be interesting to see if TLO is going to be using Mutalisk like he did in Game 1. Happy was very good in attacking multiple bases. And those are the kind of TVZ games I like to see, where there's so much hectic pressure and action going on everywhere on the map. I'm not a big fan of, oh, he's got 3 Marines and we're going to go for, little attack here and then that's going to be the end of the game. I really like those ones where there are 2 3-pronged attacks or 4-pronged attacks. Those are the most difficult ones to concentrate on, but those are the kind of games I really enjoy. So we'll have to see what kind of game this is going to be. Now, obviously, the momentum is on Happy's side, but he's opening up with a Barracks first play. Now, the last game he went for 14cc on the high ground, and it worked out for him. This time, he is going for a Reaper opening. Now, on Shir Vestige, the Reapers can be somewhat effective. To get into the main base of your opponent, you have to actually jump into the natural before you can jump up into the main. But there is this little area here where you can actually jump up and then your opponent generally can't see it. So there is still a little area where a Reaper might be able to get by unannounced. So we'll have to see if that Reaper is going to be using that route or not. The Reaper is already out and jetting across the map, and we do have a second Reaper on the way. Now from TLO, we do have 4 Zerglings and 2 Queens coming out. So those units will be out very soon. The Reaper is going to be able to scout out TLO's base first. But those Queens and Zerglings will be out very soon. And it looks like the Reaper is going to see that hatchery and immediately go to the main. And now it looks like the Reaper is going to be very happy hunting down these drones. But the Zerglings are already out. This Reaper needs to be controlled. No, Happy is going to lose that Reaper immediately. And that's a lot of fire and that's a lot of blood. Very, very unfortunate for Happy. Not the best control. You want to keep your Reaper alive. Even if you're not able to kill any units with it, you can always retreat, regenerate some life, and you can either harass the units, even though you're not destroying any, and or at least use it for a scout later on in the game. But that's a big bummer for Happy. So great control by TLO, able to trap that Reaper immediately. And that's too bad for Happy, like I said. Now he is going to be going 4 double Hellions again, just like in the previous game. And we don't have Zergling speed started for TLO, as he doesn't even have an extractor up. So it looks like map control will be conceded to our Terran player, at least for a while. Happy does have his second command center, is upgrading to an orbital command, and he is getting a tech lab behind the barracks. And this is a little interesting because with the tech lab, initially I thought he might be going for a starport or something like that, but it just looks like he's going to be upgrading stim packs with just 1 barracks. He doesn't actually have any Marines out. And so this is a little bit risky. If TLO is able to detect this, he might switch it up and then go for an attack. But it doesn't look like TLO has been able to spot this as of yet. In fact, his vision is very limited. He is going to be going for a 3rd base, though. And that's going to give him that economic power that he needs to power past his Terran opponent. And just like in the previous game, TLO is being very aggressive with that creep spread, and I think that is important for Zerg players. I really like the style of Scarlet and other Zerg players that have good creep spread. And it looks like Happy is going to try and come in here with 4 Hellions into the natural. But with so many queens and the double evolution chambers down, that is going to be thwarted immediately. In the previous game, Happy was able to roast about 10 drones in his first drive-by, so it was very effective. But this time, TLO is not going to have anything of it. He learned from his mistakes from game 1. So that is a very good adaptation by TLO, thwarting this play from Happy. Now, Zergling's speed is almost complete, and we do have +1 Carapace started for TLO as well. It looks like the Hellions are going to be able to get behind the drone line in the natural. 5 drones have been destroyed already. 4 more Hellions are left. They're wrecking down all these Zerglings, and they are going to just drive into the main unopposed. There's only a queen and a few Zerglings here, but the Hellions are heavily damaged. The drones are trying to retreat from that mineral line, but there's still a whole bunch here mining. 2 more drones do go down, and so Happy, once again, it looks like he's going to be able to wreak a lot of financial havoc in TLO's base, once again destroying 10 drones. So great move by Happy, destroying all those drones. And even though TLO looked like he adapted and he was able to spot that, once again, he succumbed to the attack. So very good play by Happy. And initially you thought TLO would have learned his lesson from the previous game, but it doesn't look like it. And Happy is being even more aggressive now. He's got a combination of 4 Marauders, a Medevac, and 5 Hellions. But now they're just chillaxing. They're not actually going anywhere. Initially, I thought he might be flying them directly into the 3rd or maybe the natural. But he's taking a break just temporarily. Now, TLO is going to retreat from his 3rd base right now, as he is suspecting an upcoming attack. But at the same time, TLO is moving across the map with a whole bunch of Zerglings, about 20 under his command. But he's going to find out that this natural is heavily fortified and is completely blocked off. So he won't be able to do too much damage there. Now, this 3rd base still doesn't have any drones, so TLO is very wary of an incoming attack, and his instincts are correct. We have a whole bunch of Marauders and Hellions here. This queen is not going to survive the fortnight. It is going to get burned down. Great animation, and this hatchery is going to get plopped as well. So very good move by Happy, destroying 10 drones and also picking off that hatchery, but it looks like the Banelings did get through into the natural, able to wreak a lot of havoc on that mineral line, as all the SVs have been pulled off that natural mineral line, but they're not able to get into the main. And it looks like the Zerglings are trying to chase these stray SCVs. The Banelings are coming back, but these supply depots are going to go down. And it looks like Happy might get supply blocked very soon if he's not careful. He's trying to rush back with his Marauders and his Hellions, burning down the incoming Zerglings as he rides back. But entrance into the main is denied. We do have 1 lone Marine and a whole bunch of structures in the way. These Zerglings will not be able to break through. But I think with that very good successful counterattack, Happy is definitely behind, in my opinion, even though resources loss is actually in favor of our Terran player. Happy just lost a lot of miners. He lost 13 compared to just 10 drones for TLO. So Happy is definitely behind. He's down by about 15 supply as well. He wasn't mining from the 2nd base. And you have to remember, even though TLO did lose his 3rd, he was still mining from 2 bases constantly. And that last attack from TLO in Happy's base, that really cost him a lot of SCVs and mining time. And now it looks like Happy is going to try and retaliate, focusing down on this 4th hatchery. It's not yet complete. It does get the cancel on it, so there are some lost resources there. But I still think Happy is behind in this game. TLO had a very good counterattack. So even though he lost his 3rd, I think he did way more damage at this expansion at Happy's base. So Happy's trying to recollect himself, and at the same time, he's trying to drop with 4 Marauders, but with so many Banelings and Zerglings just waiting around, this drop is going to be easily thwarted. So Happy's going to have to reassess which route he wants to take now. Now remember, he still has 9 Hellions in the middle of the map, but what can he do with those Hellions? That is the question. And with so much creep threat from TLO, TLO is able to see the movement of this army very easily. And now this 3rd base is heavily fortified with 3 spine crawlers. I don't think the Hellions want to go in there. But it looks like Happy was trying to find another entranceway into the main. The Mutilas are going to be able to catch up to this medevac. No more boost left. So I think the Marauders are going to have to get dumped out. There we go. And the Marauders are going to stim. And the Marines are coming in here. One Mutalisk is picked off. Can he get a second one? No. TLO is able to get away. Pretty good trade picking off a medevac for the price of a Mutalisk. So not a bad trade for TLO. Now TLO still has a supply advantage. And he also has 2-2 almost completed. While Happy is only stuck on 1-1. A lot of these Creep Troopers are going to get cleaned up by Happy. And I think this is one of the ways that he can get back in this game if he denies that creep spread. But this fourth base is going to be surrounded by Hellions and Marines. The Zerglings are trying to get in there, but there's just too much Hellion firepower. And now the third base of TL is going to be under attack. The Spine Crawlers are going down very quickly. The Banelings are rushing in here. No splits. The Marines are not splitting up very well. Are the Banelings going to be able to get good connections? Able to get some connections. But these following Banelings not able to get very much done. But the Mutalisks have been able to wreak havoc on that Marine line. And now there's basically only Marauders and Hellions left. And Marauders and Hellions can't hit Mutalisks. So Happy is going to get cleaned up here. And he is going to have to retreat. And now it looks like resources lost is still in favor of our Terran player. I'm a little bit surprised. But TLO does have his third base up and running. And that's something that Happy can attest to because he's facing a lot of economic troubles. He's got to get a third base of his own or he's got to take down this third base. Now, one of the things Happy's been able to do is continuously put pressure on the fourth base from TLO. But like I said, you want to be able to put your Zerg player on even amount of bases as you. You don't want to have your Zerg player always one base ahead of you. Because if that's the case, your opponent can throw away much more resources, like in this game, and still be ahead, as you can see in the supplies. So Happy is going to be getting his third base up and running very soon here, but at the same time, Teal is getting his fourth and getting his fifth as well. And I don't have to tell you what's going to happen if one player has 5 bases and the other one has 3. It's pretty simple math on what the outcome is going to be. So Happy has to be a little bit aggressive here. I feel like he needs to push, maybe make some drops happen, do some economic damage. Otherwise, TL is going to have this have this game in the bag. Not the bag in the game. I don't know how you can have a bag in the game. But he's going to have this game in the bag if the situation doesn't flip soon. Now, this Widow Mine is going to be able to protect from ground attacks, but not from Mutalisk harass. And we only have one lone missile turret here. And these SCVs are immediately under attack at this new third base of Happy. The Marines are going to stim in here. Unfortunately, the Mutalisks are going to be able to fly away. And now it seems like Happy is hemmed in trying to protect his third base. And that's going to give free reign for TLO to set up a lot of static defense structures at his new 5th and at his 4th on the east side of the map. So TLO must be very happy. He's got a slight supply advantage. But what we got going on for Happy is he does have 3-3 on the way, and we don't have that on the way for TLO. TLO is actually still stuck on Lair Tech, so he can't even get 3-3. And this might be the trump card Happy has. If he can get 3-3 for a prolonged period of time, TLO's units might get melted by all that stimmed gunfire from those Marines. So I feel like TLO has to identify this and get up to Hive as quickly as possible, get 3-3 up and running. And then if you have a superior armory as well, TL should be able to win this game handedly as he does have the economic power. And Happy is just sitting back. He's content on 3 bases, it looks like. But we've just got so much creep spread. I mean, TL is able to see about 70% of the map. So it's not going to be able... He's not going to be able to surprise TL in many ways, simply because he's able to scout out basically the entire map. And now we do have a flock of Mutalisks once again prepared just outside the third base of Happy. The Mutalisks are going to fly in here, focus down on this bunker, but they are going to retreat. And Happy is going to be able to hold at least temporarily. This Widow Mine is going to go down. Great snipe by TLO. But I think the longer this game goes on, the more certain it is going to be a TLO victory. Because TLO is just going to get too many resources. He's just going to have way too many choices. And now he's actually getting pathogen glands as well as flyer carapace. And we don't see that a lot in TVZs. Flyer carapace. I think this is going to be a really, really bad deal for Happy. I think Happy has to make something happen here. Now, TLO is going to be the aggressive one here. He is moving into Happy's base. But Happy's Widow Mines have been able to deter the entrance of these Mutalisks. So TLO is just constantly flying around near the third base of Happy. And Happy has to know that TLO has a whole bunch of bases behind this attack. And TLO is just biding his time, it looks like. He's not rushing in. He's being very patient here. The Marines are going to stim out and move across the map, it looks like. The Zerglings and Banelings are trying to reinforce the Mutalisk position. We've got so many Marines. The Marines are able to focus down on a whole bunch of Banelings. And now some of those creep tumors are going to be casualties as well. So it looks like Happy is going to be moving out across the map, able to take control of that southern Zelnaga tower. And TLO is retreating. It looks like he's getting more and more Banelings constructed. We got 14 more Banelings on the way. We've got 35 already. That'll bring it up to a grand total of 49 if they all complete. Some of them are sniped out. The Banelings get great connections, but they are going to retreat again. We've got a lot of Marines in this army. We've got 80 Marines. But the Banelings are getting awesome connections. The splits are not good enough for Happy. These Banelings are just wrecking all these Marines. The packs of Marines are melting away. As you can see, the supply has dropped significantly, and now TLO has a 70 supply advantage. And now with so many Zerglings and Mutalisks left, it doesn't look like there's that many Marines left in this army composition from Happy. And Happy is going to have to retreat once again. TLO is recollecting himself. Now, this is very strange. Happy does have a lot of resources, but he doesn't have that much of an army. And TLO doesn't have that much of an economy, but he has a bigger army. And this is a little bit strange because TLO does have 2 extra bases on Happy. So that is a little bit interesting. Now, one of those bases he's not mining that much from, so you could say it might be 4 bases. But still a little bit surprising. But now it looks like the supplies, now it looks like the resources are going to be evening out, but TLO still has a 40 supply advantage, and he's putting more offensive creep tumors in the middle map as well, and he's going to be going for a flyby at that third base. Once again, TLO is being very patient. He's not engaging unless he thinks he can really do a lot of damage. He's just constantly flying around the map, giving Happy a lot of looks, but not committing. And sometimes as a player, doing nothing is the hardest thing because you really want to get in there and get some action. The Banelings are going to be rolling into this third base. The Marines are taking a lot of fire. The Marines are stimming and able to destroy a lot of those Banelings. The Banelings did not do that much damage. So another good hold by Happy. I just feel like how long can Happy hold if all the action is constantly on his side of the map? And Happy is going to be hurting for resources. His natural is almost mined out. His main is mined out. And only his third base basically has some minerals left. And it's not even that many for some of the mineral patches. So Happy needs to get a 4th up very soon. TLO is just flying around, playing the contain game, and not letting Happy do anything. Now, Happy does have the upgrade advantage, but 3-3 is on the way for TLO, and once that finishes, I think this is going to be a whole new ball game. When Happy was able to hold with those upgrade advantages, I don't think those holds will be very good once 3-3 is complete for TLO. And like I said before, that creep spread is basically right on the front door of Happy's base. The Banelings do get a great connection on those Marines, and Happy is forced to lift off and boost away. And like I said, all the action is happening on the south quadrant of this map, and that is not a good place to be if this is where you're living, and Happy is living in the south side of this map. The Mutalisks are going to come in here. They're able to take off both medevacs. Good play by TLO. The Marines are not being healed now. There are no medevacs here. Just a whole bunch of Marines. Now, medevacs have been called in. They will be healing that pack of Marines. But these Mutalisks are just relentless. They're going from left to right, from south to north, constantly picking and harassing, trying to find a location to do a lot of damage. But TLO is content on just waiting. He knows he has the economic advantage. And how aggressive is this? He's actually getting his 6th base very close to Happy's main. And he's going to be setting up a lot of static defense as well. So TLO is basically in total control of this game. He doesn't have to push anything. if he just plays really, really poorly, I think he can still win this game. As the resources are on his side, map control's on his side, army composition seems to be on his side. And Happy is trying to make something happen here, but once again, he is forced to retreat to the safety of his borders. But we just have so much creep spread here that Happy is not able to do anything positive at all. The Marines are trying to stem in here, pick away at some creep tumors, and now the SCVs are being pulled off the line. Happy is trying to come in here with SCVs. I'm not sure why. These SCVs are not going to do very much. I would like to see him use them as some sort of meat shield, but he just loses a whole bunch of SCVs for basically nothing. And it looks like Happy will be using that extra supply to build some extra army units, but his third base is almost out of minerals. So basically, he's going to push out when he has 200 army supply, and then he has to make everything happen with that 200 army supply. Because if that army supply dips, he's not going to have enough resources to do anything with it. So TLO is in a very good position here. Like I said, he's just waiting outside. He has a 6 base up and operational. This is a very strange game. I can't remember the last time I've seen so many SCVs pulled off the line and not used as meat shields. Especially when you're so behind in the game. I've seen it where it's very even, where one player is one side of the map, the other one has the other side of the map, and neither player can penetrate. But this is very strange, just sending these SCVs in. Resources loss is still in favor of our Terran player, even though he's so far behind. And that just tells you what happens when you give your opponent so many more bases than you. When you have 6 bases and your opponent only has 3, that means basically you can lose twice as many resources as your opponent, and you'll still break even. And with all this static defense up as well, it's going to be virtually impossible for Happy to break through. He's got like 59 minerals. His third base is almost entirely mined out. This game has gone on for 30 minutes, and no one is the victor yet. But I think you can see from the minerals and gas and the supply who is most likely to be the victor. We do have Blue Flame almost finished. And is that going to be able to turn the tide? Blue Flame Hellbats are able to do significant damage to Zerglings, but not to Banelings. So I don't see a lot of Zerglings in the composition. In fact, I see just Ultralists and Infestors. I only 16 Zerglings, so Blue Flame is not going to do too much here. Now it looks like this is going to be the last attack of the game. The Banelings get great connection. The Marines are rushing in here. They're focusing down on these creep tumors. The Marines are spreading, but a lot of them stimmed, but they're not actually in combat. I really question that decision by Happy, and now the stim has worn off. They're going to stim again, losing more and more life. The Ultralists are taking a lot of hits, but the Marines have all been fungled down. Half the army has been stuck. And look at the supply. The Terran army has lost 70 supply. The Banelings just roll in and melt basically everything Happy has to tap out. And resources lost. Even at the end of the game, Happy lost less resources than TLO. But if you take a look at the supplies, that obviously doesn't tell the story. So, good game by TLO and Happy, but TLO is going to be able to win this 32-minute battle. We'll have to head over to Game 3 to see who can grab the series lead.